Let's try now. 10-4 is on. All right, well, I'm going to talk about the Brittney Griner case and the trade they did for the Russian terrorist. Let's hear this.
Closer look at the man the U.S. swapped with Russia in exchange for the release of WNBA star Brittney Griner. CNN's Brian Todd has more on the notorious arms dealer Victor Bout. As you know, Brian, some call him the merchant of death.
That has been his nom de guerre in the past, Wolf, and as you know, Victor Bout was rumored for months to be the key part of any deal for Brittney Griner. We have new information tonight on a man believed to be an almost mythical player in the murky world of arms dealing. Victor Bout is believed to have cut a figure so legendary in the arms trafficking underworld that he's widely acknowledged as the inspiration for Nicolas Cage's character in the movie Lord of War.
The arms bazaar was open. Guided missiles, unguided missiles, mortars, mines, armored personnel carriers, whole tank divisions.
He's notorious. They made a movie about him, and he provided arms to all parts of the world in contravention of international law.
Tonight, the man nicknamed the Merchant of Death is back in Russia. His 25-year prison sentence cut very short in a prisoner swap for Brittney Griner. Bout always denied breaking any laws. But before being apprehended in an elaborate sting in Thailand in 2008, he was believed to have funneled weapons to war zones from Africa to Afghanistan. Douglas Farah, co-author of a book on Victor Bout, says he was known as a charismatic figure, a devoted family man, but also as a bully who'd barge in on government meetings.
If you look at the wars that were directly impacted by his weapons deliveries, you can see they escalate.
You tell me what you think about this. Scary or what?
Directly in proportion to the amount of weapons arriving. So I would say certainly, tens of thousands of people suffered, if not hundreds of thousands of people, because of the weapons he was able to deliver.
Former CNN Moscow bureau chief Jill Doherty interviewed Bout in Moscow in 2002. At that time, he denied accusations that he'd sold weapons to the Taliban and al-Qaeda.
Did you ever meet Osama bin Laden?
Unfortunately, I don't have a chance to meet them. Maybe if I would on this position to meet them somewhere, maybe on that period I would decide to do something to prevent what happened.
I asked Jill if Bout struck her as fearsome.
At that point, he really didn't. He's kind of like a big, goofy, oafy guy. I did not get any vibes. I guess you'd expect somebody with.
So you're gonna tell me you're like a big, doofy guy? Yeah, maybe to you. Like I said, I have a YouTube channel. If y'all could please go subscribe, like, comment, share. I really would appreciate it. It's free. It don't cost you a thing to subscribe. So please go to my channel, YouTube, and subscribe. Thank you. Let's keep going.
The rap like that to be kind of scary and fearsome, but he wasn't.
Western intelligence officials said there was evidence Bout shipped arms to fighters in Africa in exchange for blood diamonds. He denied it, but U.S. officials say he routinely dealt with people like ex-Liberian president and convicted warlord Charles Taylor. We interviewed a former DEA official who took part in Bout's arrest in Thailand, who says there was no weapon, big or small, that Victor Bout wouldn't sell to you for the right price.
A wide variety of weapons ranging from anti-NOF aircraft to air and ground missiles to AR-15s to a number of different military-grade weapons that he intended to supply to the FARC, a terrorist organization, for the purpose of killing Americans.
The best way to make money on Amazon now?
Victor Bout's lawyer told CNN in a statement that the prisoner swap between his client and Brittney Griner is, quote, fair. The attorney said that since Russia's ambassador to the U.S. visited Bout in October at the prison in Marion,
Fair. Where the hell do you see that fair, that trade? Tell me if you see that fair where. I don't see that shit fair at all. Do you?
Illinois, where he was serving his sentence, that Boot had been very confident he would be released. Wolf, even in prison, he had swagger.
Interesting indeed. Brian Todd, thank you very, very much. And joining us now, Bill Richardson, the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations and the former governor of New Mexico. He played a very key role in helping secure the release of Brittney Griner, as well as other Americans who have been detained overseas. Governor, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've been working closely with Brittney Griner's family to help get her out. And I know you actually went to Russia recently, met with top officials there in that effort. What can you tell us about how this deal came together?
All right. Well, credit has to go to the Biden administration, to John Feiner, the National Security Council, and the president, who made this tough decision to get Brittney Griner out in exchange for Boot, who's a bad guy, an arms dealer. I had been to Russia twice. The good news is that we got a Marine out earlier, and then Brittney Griner. So we now have to get Paul Whelan out. The inside stuff is, I can't get too much into it.
I still don't think they should have gave that guy a chance, another chance. I don't care if it was 2 Americans for him. They still should have never gave him a chance to get out of jail. They should have kept his ass to rot in there. Just my thoughts. Let's keep going.
But we were hoping for a 2 for 2, Paul Whelan and Brittney for Boot and another Russian. But at the end, I think the geopolitical differences, the bad relationship between Russia and the United States, Russia said, we'll do 1 for 1. And I think the president was right to go ahead with Brittney Griner, get her home to her family, to her father, to her wife, who I've been talking to constantly. But now we got to concentrate on Paul Whelan. And I think we have to make an effort to get him out before the end of the year. Yeah, because I think his family deserved that. He's wrongfully detained. He's a Marine. He deserves to come out.
He's been there and detained for almost 4 years now. Paul Whelan spoke to CNN, Governor, about how Russia is treating him. I want you to listen to what he had to say. Listen to this.
They've always considered me to be at a higher level than other criminals of my sort. And for whatever reason, I'm treated differently than another individual here from a Western country that's also on a charge of espionage. So even though we're both here for espionage, I'm treated much differently than he is. And my treatment is also much different than others held for espionage at other prisons.
So, Governor, why is he treated so differently, and where do you see talks on Whelan going from here?
Well, we have tried, my foundation, for 4 years to get Whelan out. And somehow it always falls short. We tried it during the Trump administration, early on in the Biden administration. And it seems at the very end, possibly because of the espionage charge, because he's a Marine, because he's wrongfully detained, the Russians hold on to him at the very end. And this is what happened again. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a possibility that we can get him out. I think we can. I think that the conditions are good. The good news is we got this other Marine out about 4 months ago. His last name is Reed. He was a young man who was not treated properly. Now, Brittney Griner. And now the next is Whelan, despite the fact, Wolf, that the relationship between Russia and the United States just keeps getting worse. And that affects negotiations. But I think the president made a decision. I think the Russians said it'll be 1 for 1. And then the next move is Whelan. But, you know, his family, his sister, his brother, 4 years, you're right. The guy needs to come out. And I think he will. I'm optimistic. I'm not negative, but you know, the relationship, the
And again, I don't know how that works. A terrorist gets to get home, get out free, and a guy that's detained for no reason is still in there. It's been 4 years. Let's get back to it.
Ukraine issue, the U.S.-Russia tensions on arms control, on human rights. It's not conducive to a negotiation. Yet it did happen. Brittney Griner is out on a negotiation. So is Travis Reed. So we got one more, and there are others also that we're trying to get out. Other Americans. There's one POW in the Russian section of Ukraine, Gordy Kurasi, who needs to come out too. So we got more to do, but Whelan should be our next target. And I think the president is doing everything he can. I got to say that. His team, John Feiner, National Security Council, the State Department, they're working hard, and they're doing everything they can.
And we want to thank you, Governor Richardson, for all you are doing as well behind the scenes. Really appreciate your joining us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, this was a quick video on Brittney Griner and the trade. Like I said, this is my first live. I have a YouTube channel. You can go, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really would appreciate it.